mastering the opening as white might feel natural, controlling the center, dictating the pace. But let's face it, half your games will be as black, where the challenge truly begins. That's where real skill shines. Here is where the French defense comes in. It is an easy yet aggressive opening that you can dominate as black. In the French, you want to break through with d5 like this, and no matter what they do, you will have a straightforward game plan to take control of the board. And believe it or not, many times you will be able to win both of the pawns with c5 or to break through the board with the superior f6 that allows you to bully your opponent all game long. The French is the best response to e4 because it is not only good in the low elo chess like you, but also good in the high elo chess too. Promise me to pay attention right now. Don't look at the suggested videos. Go full screen, because in the next 8 minutes, if you properly understand this opening, you will have a game plan for most of your black games for the rest of your life. In the French, each of your pieces has its very own specific mission. Let's start with the central pawns. Now, obviously their mission is to fight for the center. If you do that, white can either take, push, or protect their pawn. For the sake of your low elo brain, let's say they push. You can now attack the center by pushing your pawn. Remember, these pawns want to break up the center. If white takes your pawn, you can recapture with a free development, so they will most likely defend it. Your queenside knight's mission is to apply more pressure to the center, so it goes here. Most time they will defend the center with their knight, and here is the time to bring your wife out to add even more pressure to the center and attack the b-pawn. So, your knight's mission is to apply pressure to the center by going here, and your queen's mission is to restrict white's bishop and apply more pressure to the center. Let's take a look at this bishop. By the way, one quick thing. If the knight gets pinned by the bishop at any time, it is not a big deal because you can literally just wait, because if they actually take, your pawns can break the center even more. Anyway, your bishop's mission is wait for recapture after they take the c-pawn. If they defend it, you are ready to apply even more pressure to the center with your knight. Go to e7 and then f5. Attacking white's pawn chain, so the knight's mission is to basically attack the pawns that will likely defend the other pawns in the center. If they take the c-pawn in another game, you can go here to attack this pawn. Just attack the weakest point. It's actually very simple. I promise from now on it will be easier. That was the most complex part. By the way, your queen is just chilling. Once they move the black squared bishop, you can just take the b-pawn because it just lost its defense. Those are the game plan for each of your pieces. In many games, you will just win both pawns because white is unfamiliar with the French. But this was the advanced variation. What if they take? Don't worry. The take variation with the name French Exchange is the easiest and the most pleasant to play. In fact, everything from now on will be easier. So let's talk about what happens if they take in this position instead of push. By the way, in some games, you won't see this double pawn. Instead, they open with e4 and then play their knight, but that doesn't really matter because usually they take the pawn anyway. And as long as they take is the exchange variation, we will cover it with a very simple setup. Let's look at the double pawn version though. If they take, you take back. This time, there is no advanced pawn, so it is a lot simpler to play in the center. Not necessarily stronger, it's just simpler to play. Attack with the knight, get your bishop out to d6. There is no reason to play c4 in this game. Then get your bishop out to f5 or g4. Then bring the queen out to prepare castle. At last develop your knight in front of the king. Later, you can long castle and start a pawn storm. Most of the time when they go for the exchange variation, you can literally just go for this setup. Unless they attack with this pawn after exchanging. In that case, you should play the white setup. Don't take the pawn. They can take back with a free development. The setups are super simple. Just learn the moves. We have one more variation to cover. So the first version was the advanced variation where they push the pawn, and we covered the individual missions of your pieces earlier. If they take your pawn, you are in the exchange variation that we just covered. The last thing we need to take a look at is what if they don't take or push. If they don't take or push, they are most likely to defend with the knight. You might see some other wild moves once in a while, but they are not worth studying because they are so rare. In this case, you can attack the e-pawn with your knight. They will most likely push, and you are back into the advanced variation. but your knight is already on d7, which only helps you. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is this line is extreme complex with a lot of theory. The good news is that 99% of your opponent don't know the theory, so you can just play like advanced variation and use your brain. Let's now look at an example game that shows you how to use the French to win. This game happened in 16,000 ELO, and it shows how to dominate the center and how to use the dominance to win. White pushes the pawn, the advanced variation, and black attacks the center. White defends the center with a pawn, and do you remember what to do now? Correct. The knight almost always wants to apply pressure like this. They bring the knight out, and we add more pressure with our queen. They prepare castle, and here we would like to play knight d7, but this allows capture, and we cannot capture back with the bishop. So we take first, they take, and now knight d7, preparing knight f5. Now white castles, and we can add even more pressure to the center with knight f5. This pawn is attacked 3 times, but only defended 2 times. So white tried to defend with the bishop, but that fails too. Quen takes b2, attacking the rook. Now white has to save the rook by playing knight d2, and another pawn falls. After some trades, we are in an endgame, and you should focus now because you will see how black uses this dominate center to win the game like an unstoppable force. Black develops the bishop and white sieges the open file with the rook, and we develop the other bishop with a tempo. After the rook moves, the black player tries to trade the rooks by connecting them. White plays some moves, and we attack the open file, takes and takes back. White didn't know what to do and played king g2, and we fork the bishop and the pawn with our rook. White moves the bishop, and we take the third pawn. Here white has 20 different ways to lose the game, and he chose to take the pawn. Seems like a good move. But after black attacks the f-pawn, white has to trade the knights, and the bishop is trapped. White resigned after realizing that h4 doesn't work. If you forget some of the moves, you can always rewatch the video. Subscribe so you won't miss out on other videos, or just watch another video.